This is a strange tale that happened to a friend of mine when she traveled to Jordan. When my friend Mona, who's a psychiatrist, went to visit me in Amman, we decided to make a trip down to Petra. We were both excited because neither of us had been there before, but this was some years ago now, so we didn't know it would soon be shut down due to COVID. We made sure to get there early to beat the heat and the crowds. And even though it was high season, we still had a fairly pleasant day. We spent the morning wandering around the main tourist traps, like the Treasury and the Roman Amphitheater, taking photos and marveling at the skill of the Nabatean builders. But by the time we reached the monastery, we were exhausted and ready to head back. As we started making our way down the mountain, we began to feel like we had the place to ourselves. There were almost no tourists around, and the only sounds were the wind and the distant voices of fellow visitors. As we approached the entrance to the lost city, we stopped for a moment to admire the view. The monastery loomed up above us, silhouetted against the bright blue sky. The Issyk, or gorge, narrowed behind us, promising cool shade and an escape from the relentless sun. It was here, standing at the edge of the ancient world, that I first noticed something strange. Despite the relative quiet, I could hear whispers coming from the rocks. They sounded like the murmur of a crowd, but there was no one around. I couldn't understand what they were saying, but it was clear that they were talking about us. I turned to Mona and asked her if she could hear it too. At first she said she couldn't, but then she started to listen intently. A moment later she nodded slowly and said, yes, she heard it too. I don't want to scare you, I told her, but I have a feeling we're not alone. She smiled reassuringly and said, it's probably just the wind. Let's go. The last thing I want is for her to think I'm crazy. We walked on in silence, the whispers growing louder as we approached the entrance to the sick. Now I could make out individual voices, distinct and clear. They were speaking in Arabic, and although I don't understand the language, I could tell they were talking about us. Every now and then, I would catch a word here and there, and most of them were pleasant, but some of them weren't. I heard the word infidel spoken with loathing,